Am I the asshole for telling my mom's husband I never considered asking him to walk me down the aisle? For telling my mom's husband I never considered. Okay, I 25 F. I'm engaged right now, and as you can likely tell from the title, my mom is married to someone who isn't my dad. They got married 4 years ago, and they started dating 6 years ago. I was actually living in another country at the time, studying overseas. I only came back home briefly for the wedding and only came back officially last year. So I haven't spent much time with my mom's husband, but being truthful, even if I had, given the age I was when they got together, I wouldn't see him as my dad parent. I mean, I'm going to go based on this first paragraph. I'm going to say that you're probably not the asshole in this situation because you just didn't want somebody that you barely knew really to be, walking you down the aisle. And I think that's fair enough. That takes some time. I still think that you can potentially see them as a dad or a parent. And the reason I say this is because my grandpa, my grandma died and my grandpa met somebody else, when I was growing up. And like, she very quickly was like, oh no, that's grandma. It wasn't like, that's blah, 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 blah. No, she's grandma. She, every time I go over, there's always like, she cooks exactly like she makes like some of the best pot roast on the planet and the best mac and cheese and the best collard greens. She'll just make that anytime I go over. It's just pot roast, mac and cheese, collard greens, because she knows that whenever she makes that, I love it. She just does it every single time. And dessert, cheesecake, whatever it might be. She knows that I'm not picky when it comes to any type of dessert. You know what I'm saying? But like very quickly, and I'm not saying that that's the only thing that makes her grandma, but she started picking, she picked up those like grandma, grandmas always feed you when you go over to her house. She picked up a lot of that stuff. Um, I'm just fat, so I immediately go to food. And now I'm thinking about collard greens, and I'm whatever. I got distracted. The point is, I think even if it's later on, you can, if somebody comes in, if they're just great, it works, man. I see my stepdad as like my dad. You know what I mean? I'll still say stepdad. But I don't know. I don't know. Which is why he stunned me by telling me he wanted to give me away at my wedding. He told me he looked forward to doing it for all three of his girls. He has two daughters and a son, so I guess he counted me and was excited at the thought of me being the first he gives away. I didn't like the way he worded it, giving me away. Oh, God. Or the fact that he approached me about this when he had no hand in raising me. I didn't like the way he worded that. That's how it's worded, man. I don't know why. I mean, we're just giving you. I do know why it's called that. It's because back in the day we probably would have been traded for some goats and milk or something, and he would have given you away to this other family in exchange for the goats. But we live in different times. Maybe we should change the name of it. You know what I mean? It's different times, but that is I believe that's why it was called that. But no need to get worked up. That's okay. You don't like the way he worded it. It's just the way it's been worded, for a very long time. Or the fact that he approached me, blah blah blah. But my mom loves him, so I was kind. I said it was a sweet offer, lovely gesture, but I wasn't very comfortable with that, and we could figure out something else for him to do if he wanted to be more involved in the wedding. This was met with him questioning why I'd say no to him. See, I don't think you're an asshole for saying that's what you want at your wedding, And I think that if you really responded to it this way, you said, thank you, that's a kind offer, but, we're not really that close yet, but I can have you, if you want to be more involved in the wedding, we can start there or whatever. I think that's a fine answer. But anyways, he thought I would be happier to have him do it. He said, given I have no father in my life and grew up with no close adult males, it made sense. I pointed out to him that I had my mom who raised and sacrificed for me. He was like, yeah, but she's no man. And I told him I didn't plan to have a very traditional wedding, so mom doing it wouldn't be very strange at all. Fair enough. He genuinely never considered the fact that I would ask mom, and he became very emotional when I brought this up. It was a mixture of embarrassment, sadness, and frustration, and he was word vomiting all over the place. It got on my. This is like a MAGA dad and a Hillary Clinton daughter getting together and arguing over pointless shit. Have your mom do it, He sounds like he's probably like he's like traditional male type stuff. His heart's probably in the right place, but like, who cares? There's no need to be a baby man. She's not really your child. You have two other kids, man. You can walk down the aisle. Who cares? But anyways, whatever. Mixture of embarrassment, sadness, and frustration, word vomiting. It got on my nerves because he was clearly not okay with me saying no to him. He told me he should have been my first choice, and it made no sense that he wasn't when he's the only father figure I have. I told him I never considered asking him once for the very reason he's not my father or my parent, and that role goes more to a parent genuinely than a parent's new spouse. I mean, I agree with her on this. He looks so offended. Is this a new account? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, it is. Um, he looked so offended and told me the fact that I'm more inclined to think one is fake if the story isn't super controversial. Like if it's a brand new account and you're like, I kicked a puppy to death or something, I'd be like, oh, okay, I understand why you used a burner for this. But if it's mundane, I don't know. He told me I couldn't have his money then. Oh, wow. What? What a loser, man. That's the thing about being a parent. I think even, and I think this applies to step parents, and this is why I have like there's a special spot in my heart for step parents because you're going to come into a family, and I'm telling you right now, there's a 50% chance, right? 50 chance that those kids are going to hate you. And there's nothing that you can really do about it but try to make them not hate you. But out the gate, they're like, nuh-uh, no, you're not good enough for my dad. You're not good enough for my mom. Out the gate. But him being like, fine, you won't let me walk, I won't pay. That's messed up. But also at the same time, I don't know. I guess pay for your own wedding. But I'm a little confused. I don't know. He looked so offended. Blah 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 blah. He told me I couldn't have his money then. I asked him what he meant, and he said he had been expecting to pay. That mom had mentioned money. I told him that has nothing to do with him. It was money mom saved for my wedding as I was growing up that she had saved long before him. Oh God, dude, it's not even his money. I mean, it would be one if if it was his money, like truly his money, and he was like, no, I'd be like, come on, man, that's a little pathetic. You barely know her. You're talking about she's telling you she doesn't feel enough of a connection. You know what? Sometimes you just take one for the team. She's not like that other story where the stepdaughter literally hated the dad. It's just like there's just not really a connection there. It doesn't make sense for you to walk me down the aisle when I just don't know you that well. But you can pay for my wedding though. I don't know. But it's not even his money. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't know. I told my mom what happened and she was so embarrassed he acted that way. She said she'd talk to him, but I got a text not too long after from him that reminded me I had hurt his feelings and offended him. I don't think you're an asshole here. Would answer him, hey, mom's husband, I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, but you came into my life when I was already an adult. Yo, I don't want to read your fanfic about what. That's my favorite thing on this. Yeah, you should tell her to frick off. You're not going to do that. You're going to be like, if you were the kind of person to do that, you would have already done it. You wouldn't be typing up the story on on Am I the Asshole? There's a reason why I don't have any posts on Am I the Asshole, because I'm going to tell you right now, when I'm being an asshole, I just know I'm an asshole. It doesn't really need to be debated. I'm like, oh, I was an asshole today. I felt like an asshole doing that. I don't really need to question it. You know what I mean? Or I don't need help knowing when somebody else is an asshole, usually. I've never been wrong. It's all just opinions, right? Where's the real dad? He was never in my life, okay? You have the right to decide who's going to call you an asshole. God, these comments are insane. You should have your mom give you away. There's no better choice, so not the asshole, but maybe just consider that all he wants after marrying your mom is to be a family with you. I understand. Yeah, but he can start smaller than that. He can start smaller than that. She doesn't really know him. I let him down gently at first, making sure he knew I was not going to accept because I never was. I didn't go straight to making sure he knew he was never considered. Far kinder than you needed to be. I'm assuming this comment that they deleted was like, you're a bitch. Why are so many men hung up on giving the bride away? I walked alone and I love my dad, but I wanted him to escort mom. This guy is stuck in the 50s, not the asshole. Yeah, this is definitely like a time difference thing, this whole giving the bride away thing. Some people still do it. Like some women still want it. Some brides still want it, and that's fine. But it's one of those things where it's like, if I had a daughter and she was like, I don't want you to give me away, I'd be like, hey, do you? If y'all want to just go to the courthouse, I don't care, Just let me know. Just let me know. And if you want me to go, I'll go. But I just do it in the way that makes you the most comfortable, Don't feel that you need to do all this. And if you want to do all this, you know what? Here's some money because I'm dad. You know what I mean? But I don't know. As someone who has a total of 8 literal or pseudo stepchildren, when you fall in love with someone who has children, there's a part of you that loves their children too, whether or not you raise them. Yeah, this is going to be a long story about how that works. It doesn't really work with everyone like that, though. It sounds like he's a kind of guy who could possibly become a very supportive and wonderful person to have on your side in your life going forward. The man throwing a tantrum because of his entitled assumptions. I mean, I would say this if he didn't take back the money. I'm telling you, that one story, all of these step parents are forever gonna look bad because of that one Am I the Asshole story where the mom like became a stepmom and just like raised this kid that hated her with nothing but love nonstop. And even when she died, she passed down a family heirloom to the stepdaughter that hated her ass. And it was like, now that's a step parent who's like, you can hate me all you want, but that was wild. Everyone else looks like, ugh. You didn't pass down the family heirloom to the stepchild that hated you? Did you even care about them at all? That mom was that stepmom was very loving. Maybe your mom wants him to give you away. I have no idea why he would give a shit personally. He's probably just glad you're getting. He might just want to feel like he's more involved. He's old school. There are many options you could have done. Say your true feelings about that. You don't know him, so you feel awkward. That's what she did. I don't know. I was expecting somebody to be like, you bitch. You bitch. And there's no comments like that. It's just overall not the asshole. I mean, it's obvious, right? Like it's just an obvious one. You got any crazy comments? I'm so scared. One time I'll click on there and it'll be like an NSFW, whatever. She'll be like, I left him and I'm out and about. Get at me or whatever. And she's just got pictures of her coochie. All positive. I'm just going to assume that even in the comments, you don't really come across as an asshole. So, I mean, it's pretty much by default. Good job, buddy. Good job. Hope the wedding goes well.